Bring me a bottle of water, please. Thank you. Hello, hello, YouTube. You're tuned into the Katie Talk 101 show. Please, when you come through the building, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Mm-mm. Leave my door crack. Pull it up, though. Oh, no. Close my door. And you're tuned into the Katie Talk 101 show. All right, so I don't know if you all have watched the interview that ISIS did with Hardly Initiated. I don't know if you guys even know who Hardly Initiated is. But when I'm done with this review, I most definitely will drop their link down in the comment section. So, if you guys want to go and check them out, make sure you check them out and all that. So, Isis is out here again. She's back again, and she's doing a whole sit down interview with Hardly Initiated. So I'm not gonna hold you up. I'm gonna go ahead and get off into the video. All right, so to put this out there, the comment section was not on her side at all. And towards the end, I'll probably read through some of these comments too, so you guys can kind of get a sense of what they're saying and how they feel out in the comment section. So, as you guys know, when I'm doing a review, I stop and I play. I stop and play. But most definitely, we're gonna hear them out. And as I need to stop and do my commentary, I most definitely will. So let's get this started. Here we go.
I wanted to have a family that I wanted to be able to be there for my children, whether that looked like working from home or being married. I always wanted to be able to be there for my children just so that I knew that they were safe. Because when I was a child, because my mom was working.
Grammarly's effective communication score, a single snapshot of how well you're.
Let's skip through these commercials. Hold on.
Take time.
It left the door open. A neighbor's wife was supposed to be watching me after school, and her husband was taking advantage. And I was only 8 years old at this time.
Wow.
And I didn't tell my mother for a while because it was just confusing, and I was scared, and I thought I would get in trouble. Oh my goodness.
Take your time.
So just to summarize that, I want to make sure I understand. It was a single family home growing up. Your
Yes.
mom, she was obviously hardworking woman that had to provide for the
very
family.
much so.
All by
And
herself.
in school, always has a PhD, all the above. My mom has really strived. Every woman in my family, even my grandmother, it started with her. I mean, she owns a business, a very successful woman. There's multiple entrepreneurs in my family. So we've always just been, just go get it, make it happen. And I've always been that way. Before meeting my husband, I always worked, provided for my children. I never got child support for my 2 boys. I took care of them. I luckily was able to secure a job with a family business, so I was able to work from home. But it's what I had prayed for when I was pregnant with my second son, because his father got incarcerated when I was 6 months pregnant. And I didn't know what I was going to do because it was just going to be me. And
Okay, so I'm gonna do a little commentary real quick. I'm gonna push play in just a second, but just from hearing the beginning of this, you can kind of see she started out, life. It was kind of rough for her. It was pretty rough for her. She said her mom was a single mom, and she ended up becoming a single mom too. And I also hear her talking about the struggles that she went through when she was out there as a single mother. And I kind of feel like when she probably started maybe being a fan of Shira, she kind of seen the whole teaching that Shira was pushing. She probably looked at that as most definitely a way out. I think she looked at that as a way out of the struggles that she was going through. So let's finish listening to what she got to say.
he didn't get out until my son was about 9 months old. But I had to figure it out. And, thank you to my aunt and uncle for giving me that opportunity to be able to be home with my children and provide for them. And we had a nice apartment and, we had all the good things. I had my own car. I had all my own stuff. But I remember it was one Christmas when it was just us. And I said, you know what? I would like to be married. And I had never said that before. I never wanted to be married just because, I haven't really seen a lot of successful marriages in my life. So when, I'm sorry, I'm talking too far away. But when I had that Christmas, it dawned on me that, maybe I should really like put myself out there and try to find a good man for these kids. And, I had 2 boys and I feel like they needed a good fatherly example because they didn't have it.
Now, we definitely want to dig into that as well. And I want to go back because I don't want to just breeze past this incident that happened at 8 years old.
Yeah.
Now, you get assaulted by a neighbor's
Yes.
husband. Yes. And where's your father at this point? He's just...
My biological father is much older than my mother. He took advantage of her when she was a young girl in high school. I think I remember my mom saying she was in labor trying to take her SATs.
Wow.
And she was the pregnant girl in high school. And, it's unfortunate that he preyed on her like that. But
you know what? I remember listening to one of her videos, and it was a person that was doing commentary on her. But I did hear Isis speak on how a lot of Black women are not really trying to listen to men because a lot of them was not raised with fathers. When I heard her say that, that gave me the impression that Isis was raised with a father. I just feel like when some women talk like that, it kind of puts them, I guess, in a position where they feel like they're like higher or in a sense had a lifestyle that other women didn't have, as in having a father in their lives. But I just wanted to make a comment on that because I do remember in her commentary her saying that her husband works with a lot of Black women, and a lot of them don't like to listen to him because those Black women probably were not raised with fathers. But I just found it kind of funny that she said she wasn't raised with a father. So that's kind of new information for me.
there's so many men like this out there, and people just don't talk about it.
And so the situation is your mother coming from an abusive relationship. Now she has you, you're 8 years old. You go through this traumatic experience with the spouse of a neighbor.
Yeah.
And let's fast forward a bit because if I'm not mistaken, you had your first child at 17.
Yes. Yes.
So before having this child, what did sex look like to you at this point? Like when was your first sexual experience kind of getting active?
Probably when I was about 13. I lost my virginity to a 17-year-old boy in high school. And yeah, I mean, I was always told just don't have sex growing up. I don't know if that's what a lot of people in our community say.
They hear that a lot, I'm
just
sure.
don't do it. It's not really openly discussed about why and what can happen, and even personal experiences that may sway a young girl away from making certain decisions. But I have learned, and I really wanted to be able to speak to young moms when I created my platform. Because if I would have done it over again, granted, I love my children, but if I can speak to a young woman and say, like, don't have kids before marriage if you can help it, it's going to be a little bit easier. Just trying to be real and open and honest. I was a single mom and this is what happened. And I found what I thought was a good husband, seemed like a good husband, but turned out to be just a monster.
I want to ask this because do you feel like that experience that happened at 8, obviously you had your first experience, sexual experience at 13, intentionally,
Yeah.
it sounds like, did that experience at 8 years old, do you feel like that influenced that experience at 13? Did it hypersexualize you in a way?
I'm sure it's all connected. Because I believe that women who are basically taught from a young age that their value is in what's between their legs start to internalize that. And it's unfortunate.
That is very unfortunate. I just feel like more people, especially when it comes to raising your daughters, when it comes to raising your sons too, but especially for the daughters, it's really good to instill in them that their worth goes way further than what's in between their legs. And then once they hit like junior high, they start like making friends, and then usually like if they're friends, they start having sex and stuff. They start kind of like influencing. They get influenced by their friends to want to do what they're doing too. So it's really important to instill the value of young girls when they're younger, instill that in them from the jump. But I think there's a lot of things that we're lacking these days. And when she was just saying, growing up, she heard people say, just don't have sex. A lot of people didn't even explain why. I mean, I can't even remember my mom really even having a talk with me when it comes to just maneuvering through the world and learning a lot of things, like when it comes to sex and just really even handling money, finances, a lot of things I just had to learn as I went along. And of course, we made a whole lot of mistakes because we were just learning. Basically, just being, I wouldn't even just say raised, just really being like having a roof over my head and clothes on my back, you know. But that's really just not raising. I just really maneuvered through the world how I knew. And I mean, that's just how I did it. So I feel what she's saying when it comes to that situation.
And I can imagine a ton of confusion going on at that time. And now you're 17 and you involved with a young man. And if I'm not mistaken, you stated this before, that you intentionally had a child.
Yeah.
So when you say at 17 you intentionally decided to move forward with bearing a child,
Imagine making $453,000 in a single month as an
I'm sorry about the ads, guys.
that mean, and what was your
We
mindset?
as a couple, we kind of had this whirlwind romance. I actually met him here in Atlanta. So, I'm sorry, on a train coming from Alexandria to Atlanta. And everything clicked. And he said, will you give me a son? And I said, yes.
Wow.
And I was pregnant almost immediately. And I love my son.
How long did you did you guys have a relationship at that point?
Oh my gosh, it was probably like a few weeks. It wasn't long. It wasn't long at all. And I still consider him a friend to this day. Like,
Wow.
He's still a good friend.
And how old was he?
He was a few years older than me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. And that was your first child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just to confirm, before you met your now husband, how many children did you have?
2.
Okay. So when did you have your second child?
I had my second child with someone I knew from high school. I had known him. He went to a different high school from me, but I forget how we met. I think at the library we met. And my mom liked him. He was nice. And I actually ended up moving back home after things didn't work out with my oldest son's father. And I actually saw him when we were working somewhere together. I had gotten a new job and he happened to be working there too. And it was just like, oh my gosh, hey, and, we started a relationship and my son came about and yeah.
So at this point, you, I'm assuming 19, 20, You got 2 children. And from my understanding, your sister now,
well, I would say no, I was like 21 when I got pregnant, or around the time. I
Gotcha.
remember when I turned 21, I think I was pregnant. I couldn't even drink on my 21st
wow.
birthday. So I was pregnant with my second son.
And what is your mother at this point communicating to you about men?
My mother has always told me that you need to be very careful about men in general, and I don't want to paint every man in a bad light, but there can be a predatory side that some men do not control and do not want to control, and that's the dangerous part.
And where was your father at this point in time in your life?
Nowhere around. I mean, he had threatened my mother that if she tried to even get child support from her, that he would end her and her family members.
Wow.
Oh my God. That man is crazy. He actually threatened to take her mom and take her family members away from Earth if she put him on child support. Man, that is just extreme. Wow.
So he was nowhere. Nowhere.
Okay, so you now at the point, you got 2 young boys, and are you at this point, after your second pregnancy, are you considering dating? Are you having conversations? Kind of what direction you want to take your life? What's happening?
After things didn't work out with my second son's father, and it was that Christmas that I told you where I was like, I really need to create a family for my children.
Gotcha.
And, just do things the right way. And I knew I wanted more children. I love my babies. I think I'll have another one in 10 years, maybe. But right now, that's just not on my mind at all. I have 5 beautiful babies, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of them. And they're my reason and my purpose. But I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, you fine. I just wanted to get an idea of what kind of inspired you to get back into the dating market, which it sounds like you wanting to start a family.
It was that.
Start fresh.
It was that. Just wanting to find a good man that I could respect because of the type of women that were in my family, very high achievers, and just really everyone in my family has been a very high achiever, that I had a certain expectation of what a husband should look like. And also, finding certain content. I don't know if I should even talk about any of that.
Well, I think you should, because all of that influences how you think and particularly how you go about dating.
Okay.
Yeah. So she about to get off into I think she's about to get off into her running across Shira 7, but let's see what she's talking about.
And right now it is still very much so a gender war. Both men and women are confused about how to date and how to make decisions.
Yeah.
And I think everything and anything that influenced you at that time is important to share.
Well, I had shared this before, that I stumbled across a very important content creator that I think everyone knows as the hypergamous queen. Her videos are shared, sprinkle videos everywhere.
I just learned about the sprinkle. I didn't know about it.
I knew.
A lot of people are new to this, but I was true to it because I was following before there was 100,000 subscribers, like me and my sisters, and
that's Shira 7. Correct?
Shira 7, yes.
And I recently checked out her page, thousands and thousands of views, and she's been doing it for a very long time.
For sure.
Yes. So I was telling every woman that I met in person, like, there's a content creator that makes really good content just about, really, it seemed like how women could take their power back is how it felt. That's how it felt at the time.
That's a crazy way of looking at it, because I mean, Shira 7 just teach you about getting with a man with a lot of money, and I guess like resting in your femininity or whatever. But I don't see how you getting under a man, manipulating the situation to get him for his money. How is how is it that you getting under a man taking your power back. I don't really get that, but I'm gonna just let her see. I mean, I'm just gonna see what she's gonna say. So let's see. He said that's a crazy way to look at it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Lionel. Shout out to Lionel. But yes, that is a crazy way of looking at it. She felt like that's taking her power back.
Yeah. So that when you so you went from a place of not wanting marriage at all,
Hmm.
and then you started to want marriage. Was she a part of the reason?
I believe that
This was me, struggling to keep up with posting consistently on
Yeah, I don't really get that, but I'm gonna see what she's talking about. So let's see here.
probably, probably, and I hate to say that, but probably it just seemed more secure for a family. It just
Mm.
seemed right. It just seemed more stable, like we would be on a solid foundation. And I prayed to God about it because, you can subscribe to certain things that people talk about, but you don't have to subscribe to everything
Right.
that they talk about. And I've always had a relationship with God, and Jesus is the one true Lord. And I prayed about it and asked God to send me the right man. It wasn't just about what he had. It was never about what he had. Because if it was about that, I had
Girl, that is so not true because your whole stick, your whole platform was built on getting a rich man, marrying a rich man and getting him to spend all his money on you. So that was the whole thing. Shout out to Rich. Shout out to Lionel. Shout out to you guys. The chat room looking a little skinny today, but I don't know. People probably busy, tired up at home. I don't know. But I'm just thinking like your all of your content was based on you teaching women how to get men money. So how could you let's finish hearing what she got to say.
a lot of other options with more. And it was really about how he treated my children
Mm.
because he seemed to love my boys. And he said, "Oh, those are my boys. You remind me of my mom. She was a single mom with 2 boys.
Mm.
And I would just love to help you and be there for you and be the man you guys need." Oh my gosh.
So you know what? I want to, before we actually get deep into this situation that took place with your husband, I think it's important to talk about the impact. I'm actually happy you shared that because we had that we had a debate just the other night where that was a part of the conversation because who you watch and learn from, that's discipleship, that's mentorship.
Oh my goodness.
That's who you are, in submission to,
Yes.
under their leadership.
You know what? That's so
And
true.
the thing about it is now when you're discipling under somebody to make the most important decision in your life, this is how I choose my partner.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest decision we make.
Mm.
They have a lot of influence on our future and the future of our children.
Yes, are you reading the chat room? The chat room, like, man, the chat room is not on her side at all. I can't even say 50-50. I would say maybe 80% of them are not on her side. Maybe 20 are. I really can't even see the 20, but the chat room is crazy. I see you scope that out, Lionel. It's crazy. But I'm looking at it like this. I hate the situation that happened with her children and stuff like that. But looking at the content that she pushed, let me see, how can I say this? Looking at the content that she pushed, and now she's sitting up here basically putting it out there like I was strictly with my husband because I wanted a family. I was strictly with my husband for the love. But no, you push the hypergamy, the whole stick, you push that in your content of like how a woman just needs to set herself up so she can be spoiled. How a woman can move in her marriage where she can continue to get more money out of the husband. So now you're sitting in here like in tears because this tragedy has happened to your kids by the hands of their father. And now we're seeing remorse and things of that nature. But throughout the content that you push, now I heard her say in the interview, and you guys gonna hear it. I heard her say that there were little bitty things. Of course, if you guys remember, she spoke about the grape that happened in earlier in their marriage. I think that was the biggest sign. I'm sorry, but if a man did that after we're married, if he actually raped me, that would give me a sign of what type of man that this is. And even though the kids, the two daughters are biologically his, I feel like you should have kept a major closer eye on your daughters. That's just how I feel.
What do you think was the biggest takeaway from that content creator in particular that impacted you? What was the biggest takeaway, or what empowered you from her in particular, that made you feel that safety and security? Like, what was
At
it, a
that time.
particular lesson or principle that was given to you?
I think that a lot of times, like I stated before, that women are taught that their value is in what's between their legs. And she was the first person that said that it was true. And you don't have to give it away to just anybody. A man should be worth your time. He should be, taking you out. He should be investing in you. He should be making your life easier if he cares about you. And that's what I took away from it.
I think that makes sense.
I want to ask you this because, right now, hindsight, with where you are today, do you feel like that was the healthiest content to digest, or do you have any regrets in really watching that content to help guide your decision making?
So funny thing about me is I don't have regrets. I believe that God is working in perfect order, in perfect timing, and there's nothing that happens that he has not approved or seen.
It is okay to say that you have regrets though. It's okay to say you have regrets because at the end of the day, your daughters got assaulted by their dads. Honey, it is okay to say you have regrets because I can guarantee you, if you could take a magical wand and turn back the hands of time, you wouldn't have been as caught up into that rhetoric if you knew what it could lead to. And don't get me wrong, because I heard people say, oh, broke guys, they do this too. Of course, broke guys do it. But when you are adamant, when you're adamant on pushing content, when you're adamant on your whole goal is digging in a man's pockets, there's repercussions behind stuff like that. You're trying to surround and set up your whole life to get in a man's pockets. It's almost like you're targeting them. You're targeting them, and then you made a whole channel and pushed other women to do it. I mean, just imagine this man getting off work from a long, hard day, and you're sitting up on live talking about the things that you do to sway him out of his money. I mean, you just never know who you're dealing with. You got to be careful how you move.
And unfortunately, our family, not just our family, but our family in public have, especially my daughters, have had to be sacrificial lambs in the result of what has happened.
So the pipes burst at my apartment.
Yeah.
So now let's talk to me about meeting your husband now, because I can imagine after you watch this content, it's probably preparing you for the suitors that come into your life, how to vet them, how to manage them. Was he one of the early suitors?
Yes.
Was he the first one, or were there a few guys before him?
He was one of the first few, and he pursued me heavily, which I liked. I think that women like a man that pursues and says that, I want you. And
you initially met him online?
Yes, online. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We met online. I don't want to throw the website out there, but if people have been watching, then they know. I don't want to make the website a bad place. That's not what it's about. But we did meet online. Yes.
I get it. And you meet online. You set up a date.
Yeah.
Okay. And first date goes well.
The first date went amazing. He felt like my husband.
What about, the experience with him made you feel so comfortable?
I don't know. I don't know what it was. I just felt safe. I felt like he was my husband. I can't describe it. And even on our first date, he said, "So what do you think about if we got married in 2 months?" And I said, "I don't know, maybe." And he spit out his water because he started choking, like he couldn't believe I said, "Oh, maybe."
Wow.
But it felt so natural and so right. Yeah.
How old were you at this time, by the way?
I was 23 or
Oh, wow.
24 or something like that.
And what was his age?
45, 43, 45, something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
So he's around 20 or so years older.
Yes, he's 20 years older.
Got
it. Being a young woman at that time, 23, did you have any reservations about his age, or was that a concern at all? Or was
it a
that
plus?
just a typical, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't get introduced to dating older men until I've started watching Share 7. She just basically said, they
got money.
Yeah, exactly. They can be a better man to you. They can provide for you in the way that you would like, and your kids, and so I was like, okay. And it was a bit odd at first because I didn't initially jump right into online dating. I just, men would try to talk to me at the grocery store, and normally I just wouldn't even pay attention to older men. But I just started to be a little bit more approachable, I guess, to men of an older age. And I ended up meeting the first older man that I dated. And it was a little bit odd at first because I just wasn't used to dating an older man. But because he treated me well, it became easy. You feel like a princess,
I'm curious to, you said I started doing things to make myself more approachable to older men. Things like what? What makes you more approachable to an older guy?
Just like smile more, or, you can make a little more eye contact, where normally if you don't go for a certain type, you're probably not even going to turn your head. You know what I'm saying? Right. You're not even going to look in their face. But, I was like, let me keep my options open. I always was attracted to men of color, so I typically stay in that range. But I was like, let me see about dating someone a little bit older. And after I did, I was like, oh, I could do this. It's not too bad.
That's very, very honest of you, and that makes a lot of sense. And I want to ask, the online aspect of it, was that also part of the strategy, so to speak, to be able to identify men that might be a little bit older?
It wasn't at first. Okay. Actually, one of my older sisters said, why don't you just try online dating? She was like, it's not too bad. And I never had online dated, like not made any type of profile.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't want people that know me to see me on here, and it's kind of embarrassing. And, that's just was my thought process at the time. But then she was like, no, and my oldest.
Yeah, sometimes it just depends on what dating site you're on. Because I know when it comes to like stuff like Facebook dating, I actually deactivated my Facebook dating page. I deactivated that a couple of months ago. I've only met, like, since I've been in Vegas, I've only met one person off of the Facebook dating app, but that place, Facebook dating is just, I look at it like it's like the sewer system of the dating, online dating. Facebook, the Facebook dating is most definitely a whole sewer system, and I just never I really didn't find really anyone that I was I was like talking to them, and I didn't find anybody interesting to even waste my time and meet up with, because I feel like my time is very valuable. And if I'm just not vibing with you through the conversation, I'm not even gonna waste my time and meet. And let's see. So essentially, she made a YouTuber her guide. Yep, really, Shira Seven was like her guide, and that's why I feel like she was really let down. I feel like she was really crushed when Shira got on her platform and said, "I didn't tell you to be a desperate pick me. I didn't tell you to be a pick Misha. I didn't tell you to be desperate. You know, I didn't tell you this. I didn't tell you that." And Shira was like, "Don't claim me. Don't claim me." So I know when it came to that situation, when Shira came out, and as you guys know, it's under my stories, but I had posted that kind of clapback that ISIS did towards Shira Seven after Shira told her that she was a desperate pick me and stuff. If I'm reading it to her right, she essentially make YouTubers of her. And because it seems like she's using that YouTuber as the reasoning for her thinking, which is a latch from her trauma. Yep. You hit the nail on the head, Lionel.
She's gorgeous, so it's not like she doesn't have in-person options. But she's like, just try it. And so I tried it, did a paid dating app because I feel like it would be a little bit more, smaller pool of better people. Yeah, exactly. And I was able to meet, some good guys.
So how long after that first date, did you, because obviously he threw 2 months out. What happened after that first date? Did you guys continue exclusively dating?
Not really. I mean, we kind of dealt with each other, like talked, but I kind of was just talking to people. Like I kept my options open and just was letting people get to know me and taking things slow, not really rushing anything and not trying to get into a relationship at all. And I found that honestly, when I started dating older men, they wanted to rush into a relationship like immediately. On the first date, they were like, "I want you to be my woman." And I'm like,
HoneyBook keeps your proposals, contracts, invoices, and payments all in one place.
"Oh, I don't even know you." And that's kind of just how I would, we need to get to know each other over a bit of time. And
I can understand her on that, but that kind of takes me to, how did you marry this man in 6 months? If you feel like, oh, I got to get to know a person, and I'm the same way. A man just can't meet me and just rush me to the altar. Because I mean, I've been proposed to, and after this particular guy proposed to me back in 2016, he was like, "Okay, let's go and get married," and I was like, "Well, we got to be engaged first. We need to." I'm sorry, y'all know I'm getting over this cold. But I was like, we got to be engaged first. We have to live together. We got to see if this is what both of us really want, because marriage is supposed to be forever. And I think when people rush into it, you rush into it. So that means in the whole marriage part of things, that's when you're going to be like getting to know them. I feel like I want to get to know you before we hit that altar, but that's just how I think. I mean, that's just how I think. But I'm hearing her say this, but looking at the fact that you still married this man in 6 months. So you allowed him to rush you, and I'm feeling like it was out of a situation where your living situation was a little shaky, and you looked at him as like he was the hero, he was your savior.
And it turned out to be 6 months, not 2
Wow.
months.
I
But
think that is very interesting because, and initially when you told me about the things that your husband at the time was or the guy you was dating at the time, the things that he was saying, I thought, well, that's kind of strange for him to be saying those types of things. But based on your experience, you're saying that the older men, this was regular conversation.
yes, they wanted to take me off the market right away.
Wow.
Right away.
Okay. So at this point, 6 months goes down the line. And what is the transition from you now taking him serious? What did you see? Because I know when it comes to the assessment of deciding to be a husband, a lot of what the noise is that it was solely a financial decision that was
No.
made. What's the truth behind the decision? What did you see in him to actually make him your husband?
He was so good with my boys. He was so good.
And he had money. Let's keep it a bill. I mean, he had money. That's something that encouraged you to get with him. It's nothing wrong with being honest. Come on now.
Good with them. Even my oldest son responded to him in a way that he didn't respond to with my ex. And I paid attention to those little things because I would gladly leave a man if he didn't mesh well with my kids. And I had did that with the man that I was in a more serious relationship with right before we got married, because I had started, like, that was the man that we started looking at rings, and the relationship was, moving forward, and I
Right,
had
because
moved in.
there was another gentleman
Yeah.
that you met, and
Mhm.
I believe you said that you got caught in the girlfriend stage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
could you detail what that relationship? How did you meet that guy? How did things kind of get started? And what exactly was the girlfriend stage?
We met online, and he just was, very consistent. He just wanted to do anything to make my life easier. What can I do for you? What do you need? Very nice, and perfect gentleman. But he was nice to my children. All of the men were nice to my children. Like, if I met, there's probably 3 men that met my children. All of them were nice. But with him in particular, because we started to live together and, it was a little bit more of an intimate setting, I feel like him and my oldest son clashed a little bit, because my oldest son, I kind of always let him be the little man of the house in a way. And he's very, very smart and highly intelligent child. And he, is not just going to let any man come in and think that he's the boss right away. So there was an issue, and he said something about, can your son, stay with a relative for a little bit?
Wow.
And I said, oh, you mean, can we go stay somewhere?
Professionals spend 88% of their week on communication.
Oh wow, that's crazy. And there's some men that will do that. They will try to separate you from your children. Like, that's a no go for me. My child will be here when you are gone. You can go. Wow. He's talking about, can your son go and stay with a relative? Uh-uh. No me. No
And
me.
got me and all my stuff.
And see, that's the thing. It's some women out there that actually would have sent their kids off. It's crazy. Some people be like, yes, I have seen it. I have seen it. And let me tell you this, and this is gonna be real quick. I can remember back when I was living in Arkansas, I remember this one girl. Now, I was cool with the girl's sister. I wasn't friends with the actual girl. But this girl husband ended up essaying her daughter. This isn't his daughter, it's the child she had when she married the man. He broke her arm, essayed her, all that. Don't you know? she still stayed with her husband, quoting scriptures from the Bible, to my husband come first before anybody. So DHS came and took all of her kids, and she still with that man today. She is still with him. Her DHS raised her kids. She never ever got her children back. So when I say I have seen it, I have literally seen it. I'm talking about up close and personal, and I have seen it from afar. Women will put men in front of their children. I've seen it. So sad. So sad.
And because it took two cars, I had my car and she came with her car to get my stuff. And he brought my TV and stuff, all the bigger things he brought. I asked him to bring it back the next day, but I left and I went back to my apartment, which I had to be out of soon, and I didn't plan to need to, do anything else because I thought the relationship was moving forward. I was his girlfriend, but he was taking very good care of me and he seemed like a good guy. But when he said that about my son, I said, no, it's all of us. It's all of us. So I left him. And I remember that night I was in the shower and I prayed and I said, God, I just want someone that's going to love me and my children. That's what I want.
Now, I want to make sure that the audience is following us because we pretty much, I want to make sure we don't move too fast. But you have your second shot.
Okay, so for the next 20 some minutes, she's just going to be talking about her children and everything before she met the husband. What I'm going to do is I'm going to speed it up just a few minutes, and I'm going to speed it up to the part where there's a therapist that's going to come on. So I'm going to speed it up to that part because I feel like this is the part of the interview that gets really interesting. So guys, I'm just going to speed it up just a little bit. I may have to do a part two. This whole interview is like 2 hours long. So I don't know. I might have to do a part two and just come back in the morning because I think I got work at 12 tomorrow. So I'm going to come back in the morning, but I'm going to stay for another 30 some minutes because, I do like to give you guys a good hour or so. It's close to an hour, but not quite. So I'm gonna speed it up. And the therapist is gonna give her some really good advice. I want you guys to listen and pay attention to this. So they're about to bring the therapist on. So here we go.
Success used to be rides in fancy limousines. Now it's executing your marketing strategy barefoot. Use data-driven.
Persistent, faithful, all the things that success is a fruit of. So I still stand by that. But when it comes to dating as a single mom, luckily he didn't prey on his stepchildren. But what if he did?
What I want to do here, it's a blessing to say this, but Dr. Spirit actually did show up here backstage today.
Yeah.
So one of the greatest, most world-renowned therapists is actually.
Yeah, so the doctor name is Dr. Spirit. And I wanted to say this too, right quick. I'm listening to some of the struggles that she went through as a single mother and stuff like that. And I just want to say this. I feel like how I raised my kids being a single mom, I raised my children looking at it like it's me and my children against the world. I always raised my kids like that. And I remember when I was with my oldest son father, I got with him when I was 20. We broke up when I was about 20, 24, 23, something like that. We was together almost 4 years. But I can remember in the midst of us being in an argument or something, I can remember him saying, look, if me and you break up, don't be out here trying to search for any old guy. He said something else, but he was like, don't be out here trying to search for no any old guy to bring around my damn son. He said, you need to be strong and put your head up and be strong, cause I may not be around. And don't go out here getting with no any old guy just to say you got some guy around that'll be mistreating my son. And he told me, because at the end of the day, a man ain't always going to be around. You need to figure out how to be strong and hold it down for my son. That's what he told me in the midst of me and him having an argument. And I feel like just from this day, like I feel like that's the realest thing any man ever told me, because I feel like in a lot of sense, I have seen so many women, friends, family, sisters, mamas, grandmas, aunties. I have seen them go through so much mess when it comes to men. I have seen them go through so much mess when it comes to these marriages. And I have just seen so much. And it put me in the sense of, just from my son father telling me that a man ain't always gonna be around, and then me seeing women going through just the craziest, most insane shit when it comes to trying to keep a marriage together, trying to keep these relationships together. I have seen women suffer. I have seen women, children suffer. I have seen their relationships with mother and daughter suffer. It's just like everything that I have seen go down, in all the strength of a woman wanting to say, I have a husband, I have a man, all of the suffering I have seen. I think that's what put me in the mind frame of all that suffering, put me in a mind frame of just being a strong, and I know this sounds cliche, but just being a strong woman that can stand on my own. That's what put that in me, and it's something that I still hold on to today. That, don't get me wrong, if a good man come along and he's sincere at heart, I can open up myself to love him and to be a good submissive wife that will follow his lead. But until that day come, I could be 50, 60, 70, I will stay single. And that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel, because I have seen a lot of mess when it comes to marriages and stuff like that. And it's just like it all was not good. It all was not good.
Actually, backstage to join us in this
Excellent.
conversation.
3,300 people in the chat. The chat is going bananas right now. Dr. Spirit, thank you for joining us. Where's she at?
Absolutely,
Hey.
Ken Lano.
Hey,
Dr.
guys.
Spirit, what's
Hey.
up with you, Dr. Spirit? Everybody, welcome.
Hey.
Drop a Dr. Spirit in the chat real quick.
I like that. Dr. Spirit got that set too. That's looking nice.
Oh, that is so true, Lionel. Lionel says she definitely didn't get that advice, which shows in her decisions. That is so true. It should have been somebody around telling her that. But you know what? Sometimes it could be people giving you certain advice, but you only listen to it when it comes from a certain person. But man, to this day, and my son father, he been passed away since 2006. To this day, I remember him telling me that, and I thank God he told me that. We didn't have the most perfect relationship. A lot of people don't have no perfect relationship, but I can say that man taught me some of the most realest stuff that I ever heard. He taught me a lot too. He taught me how to cook. When I first got out on my own, me and my sister was roommates, and I didn't even know how to cook until, like, after me and my sister, we were roommates for like 2 years. Then I met him, and my sister ended up, she went on and got married to her first husband, and me and my son father, we moved together, and he taught me a lot about being a woman. He taught me a whole lot.
Thanks back there.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm working late at the office, so I couldn't come into the studio, but they told me that you needed me, so I'm here.
Oh, listen, Dr. Spirit, the fact I already know you one of the busiest therapists in the world. All right. So I am absolutely blessed.
It's a long day.
I know every day is probably a long day, but we have Isis Morales here, who has, one of the most viral stories and testimonies right now on the internet, who came in here to join us.
Okay.
I know you like to come in absolutely blank, because Dr. Spirit said, I don't want to know anything. I want to come in.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. He said, in my experiences, everyone is not out to help you. My mom went through her life from 7 to 19 being told how ugly she was, and how she would not amount to anything, how God didn't love her. That is so sad that people actually told your mother that. If it wasn't for some liberation that showed her kindness and a few examples of kindness, she could look very different. Yes. Oh my God. It could have went very different for her. But thank God it's always somebody there to help you and lead you along the way. Man, that is crazy people said that to your mom.
And
Yeah.
with a blank slate, I just want to come in and meet the young lady and talk to her. And the purpose, by the way, because I want you to be able to do what you do with ISIS, because this situation is not unique, unfortunately.
Okay.
So I would like you to give her the best counsel that you could, and also just in general, any other ladies that might be in a situation, how they can move forward and advance, who might have experienced something similar. But in general, Dr. Spirit, I would like you to go ahead and take it from here.
Well, one of the things that I really want to ask, and I feel bad that I'm just jumping in because I'm sure you probably already shared this story with the audience, but what is it that you need from me tonight? How can I help you? I'm not familiar with your story. I'm not familiar with the viral moment. I'm not familiar with anything. And I'm meeting you for the first time where you are. And so as you think about where you are and what it is that you're going through in your life right now, how can somebody who does the work that I do, how can I serve you tonight?
So secret number one right here, I want you guys to understand, when you are
Okay, I hear I'm sorry, but
I think
I'm sorry, I wanted to read this right quick because I see somebody that's in their comment section. They said something and they said, thought that she hit the jackpot, baby. A Proverbs 31 woman was not a 304 or a prostitute. She knew her worth and worked hard to take care of her family. So stop. I think that's when she was talking about she wanted to be a Proverbs 31 woman. And one thing that I can say, when it comes to a Proverbs 31 woman, you will actually never hear her even make that statement. Other people will see that she's a Proverbs 31 woman. Other people will see the godliness in her. So for her to say that, I think that's just that religion shield that she was probably taught. It sounds like she probably grew up in a church all of her life. So she was taught at an early age to use the shield of God, the shield of Christianity, the shield of scriptures from the Bible, but no one ever really taught her how to live it. It's kind of like when Kurt Franklin was saying in one of his songs, and I think it was Shout, when he was like, the church taught me how to shout and how to speak in tongues, but can you teach me how to live when the word is done? Can you teach me how to live? No one ever taught her how to actually live the word. All they taught her was the words. So if you see what I'm saying from that, a lot of Christians still go through that now. A lot of them just quote scriptures and they don't live the word. So I can understand what that person in the audience is saying.
that, I don't think my therapist has definitely told me that I have post-traumatic stress disorder from these events. And I've kind of taken on a shape or this feeling of I just never think that I can trust a man again because of, if my own children's father, their biological father, the man that, made them, would do this, then who can I trust? And I told a woman this the other day, and she said, that spirit that's been following you and your family, that generational curse, that spirit that's in charge of that generational curse, it doesn't want you to be married. And it hit home so much to me. And how do I heal? How do I heal?
Well, tell me, how have you decided that because I was in a relationship with one man who did unthinkable, unspeakable things to me, how have you decided that he is a representation of all men? And that somehow that now means that you could never trust another man when you're even sitting with two men being trustworthy tonight, sharing your story, and all the other people who are supporting you in the chat tonight. Tell me about this idea of I can never trust an entire gender ever again.
It's not about that I believe I can't. It's that I just don't know if I can take the chance. That's it. I just feel like I can't take
How is
the
that
chance.
different? It's not that I can't. I just can't.
She don't need to be thinking about trying to trust another man. I mean, that question is not a good one. Why you say it's not a good question, Lionel? And I think that trying to get another man or whatnot, I mean, I think that should be the last thing on her list. That should be the last thing she's thinking about is a man. I'm sorry. And you know what? What I was just about to say, I feel like ISIS is very calculated because I feel like she went on their show. That was a calculated move. At the end of the day, I don't even feel like she should be doing any interviews, period. But she went on a show of two men who actually adamantly push a man need to be in the house. A man need to be in the house. A man was in her house. Now look at what happened. Look at the situation that happened with her. So they always push for a man to be in the house. I couldn't even watch this video because her voice is constantly fake tears. Yeah, I seen a lot of fake tears too. And a lot of people in the audience called that out too. And it's hard to listen to. She's a foolish woman. She'll be with another man in a couple of years. Yeah, I don't know if you heard her say, but she ended up saying, yeah, in about 10 more years, I'll be having another baby. I was like, oh my God, did this girl even learn? If your biological kid's father assaulted his kids, she shouldn't trust any man at that moment. Thank you. How can she even think about or talk about getting with another man? It's hard to be, it's hard to believe and sympathize with her. Yes. And a lot of people in the audience are saying the same thing. And shout out to you out in the chat room too. I don't know how to pronounce that. I think it's A to B. I'm sorry, I don't want to brutalize your name, but everybody in the audience, they're saying the same thing. It's hard to even sympathize with her.
Take the chance. So that says then it's not that I don't trust all men, it's that you don't trust yourself at this point.
Exactly. Because my husband appeared to be such a good dad. And
Yeah, and I see what that therapist is a good therapist because what she just said, it's not that you don't trust men, you don't trust yourself. So if anybody can dig into that statement that Dr. Spirit just said, the statement that Miss Dr. Spirit put out, she said what she ended up saying is that you don't trust yourself. It ain't that you don't trust the men because she letting her know you made a bad decision staying in that marriage after that man essayed you at the beginning of that marriage. So that shows you make bad decisions when it comes to dealing with men and you don't trust yourself to get with another man because you know you make bad decisions dealing with men and you know the danger that it could bring to the kids around you that you love, your children. So that's basically what she was saying.
I mean, I just would have never, ever, ever expected him to do this. So it may be my own judgment, it may be my own trauma, and I just feel maybe I don't trust myself to ever be with a man again. And people talk about hypervigilance, and I was always a hypervigilant mom. he knew that he had to be the sneakiest of sneaky because I was always watching. So
But Isis, you were not always on it, because what about the viral video? And I showed it on my channel too, from when I seen it on Priscilla show when she talked about it. You were sitting down there putting on your makeup, doing a YouTube channel, and your daughter was up there yelling, "Ow, ow, daddy, ow." And she started screaming and crying. And you did not bat an eye. You said, "My daughter is up there with her dad and she's cranky today. So if you hear anything, act like you don't hear it." So, ma'am, let's be honest. There were things going on under your nose, and you turned a blind eye to it because you were over there living your trophy wife life. Let's be honest. If you're gonna go over here on these interviews and you're gonna put your story out there, you have to be able to take accountability as well. We're here to listen to your story. People always say, "Hey, we're here to listen and don't judge." Baby, people need judgment. People need judgment because at the end of the day, I feel like us as people, we are the ones that are sent here to make each other better, to therefore make this world a better place. So when there's things going on, there is judgment to be had, because if you're around a lot of people that's coddling you and patting you on your back and saying, "Oh, it's okay. Yes, 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 it's okay," you can never become a better person around a lot of yes people. There has to be someone around to hold you accountable.
to me, how can I even rationalize what has happened to even
Imagine making 450.
Hold on, let me let this commercial go by. But yeah, we all got to start holding each other accountable. We need to bring judgment back. We need
to move on?
we need to bring accountability back. We need to bring shame back. We need to bring judgment. We need all of that. We need all of that. Bring all the judgment, bring all the shame, just bring it all. And those little things will make the world better.
Again,
So when you say, "I don't trust myself or my judgment ever again," what is it that you're not trusting not to happen?
I'm just scared. I'm just scared. That's all. I'm just scared.
Scared that what?
Someone could appear to be someone that they're not.
And what would happen if that's the case?
Lives could be ruined.
When you say, "I'm just scared that lives can be ruined," what is the story that you are telling yourself that causes you to then conclude as a choice,
Well,
"I'll
hold on.
simply..."
Hold on. I want to read this right quick. Someone in the comment section said, "Girl, you lied on him because he embarrassed you by sending you divorce papers. Then all of a sudden, you changed your daughter's diaper and noticed that she had been touched. You lied on him." Oh, I wonder if it's his niece that's in the comment section that said that. Because those were very detailed things. So someone in the comment section, she said that once she got served the divorce papers, that's when she came out with this story. But I'm not really for sure, about those details. So I can't get off into that. But I did actually hear that he did file for divorce. But I was just thinking to myself, you found out that he did this to your daughter. I would have been the one filing the divorce. Like, I don't know.
never trust again. You're giving these little snapshots, but you're not telling the whole story. And I'm curious about the story.
I think I keep blaming myself and saying, how could I have
See, and
missed?
this is another calculated thing. They brought Dr. Spirit up here to hold her accountable, And because they are men, they don't want to come at a woman whose child went through this. And I think that's a big reason why some men, not all men, because a lot of men did do commentary on this, but I think some men decided to stay away from this story because of that, because they're looking at it like, hey, this is a woman whose daughter has been essayed by her husband. So a lot of men decided to stay away from this story. But with Hardly Initiated bringing her on the show, they didn't want to kind of like seem like they're coming at her hard. So they brought a woman on a panel to hold her accountable.
This. How could I have missed this? How could I have missed this? It repeats over and over. How could I have missed this? And it's just a very scary thought that I just don't want to have to ever have again in any other situation.
So when you ask yourself the question, how could I have missed this? Is the fear that as I go forward, I will miss things again?
I just am not interested in wanting to find out. Unfortunately, and I know with my therapist, she said it's going to take time to heal, and I need you to understand that all men are not predators and right now. So you guys are seeing me real and raw, unhealed completely. We're all still healing. We're all in therapy, family therapy, individual therapy. We're doing all the things. But, this is just me right now. This is my truth right now today. And I'm just here sharing it.
Yeah. And my heart goes out to you and the family. I think that you're doing all of the right things, and it may take a very long time. And I want you to know that healing does not mean that you will ever forget, but the thing that becomes important.
Thank you. What you mean? How? You ignore everything. We heard it on the video. Thank you. That's what I was just talking about. How she was down there putting her makeup on, drawing her little brows on, and talk about that's my daughter that's crying. So if you hear it, act like you don't hear nothing. I'm sorry. I would have been like, hold on, y'all. I gotta run upstairs. Just a second. I wouldn't even say what I was finna do. I would have crept up. I would have crept up them stairs so quietly and quietly walked in to see what was going on. Like if you are on your like real what we call mother bear, if you on your real mother bear stuff, even if she's in there with her dad, if she's in there with your mom, in there with her grandmother, and that baby hollering like that, I would have simply got off of that live and crept up them stairs to see what was going on. I would have just assumed, oh, she's with her dad. She'll be okay. Act like you don't hear her.
Is that as you are moving forward in your healing,
As you can tell.
So all those little crocodile tears she doing, it's not moving me, and no one in the comment section is moved either.
tell yourself a story that stops you from finding that.
Look, somebody in the comment section right here just said crocodile tears in capital letters. Y'all see it right here? Crocodile tears. And I just said that.
Healing that goes along with this. Because right now, because one person that you were married to did heinous things, now you will block yourself in that space. But you're not telling yourself, I'll never have friends again.
Yeah.
You're not telling yourself that we'll never play with cousins again. You're not telling yourself that I don't have to worry about anybody else anywhere in the world. You have decided that one man who sat in the place of a.
Yes, it is a lot of predators out there, and I'm talking about not just predators just looking to mess with your daughters. It's predators out there looking to mess with your sons too. It's men out there who simply seek women out who have little kids. So women just have to be careful. This dating world is really crazy. It's really crazy. And just the people that I've seen my mom deal with just growing up, it just really opened my eyes when I was younger I always say, hey, I have kids. I'm not finna have men in and out my house. I'm sorry. I'm just not finna be over here laid up with any old person just to say I got a man. Like, what the heck?
Spouse is somehow in a position that now makes you decide that only a spouse is who I need to be careful of. Only a spouse is who I need to be watchful for. And what I want you to understand is it wasn't about the role that he played, it was about the man that he was. And so as you are in your healing journey, what I want you to be able to learn is about how do you protect yourself and your children and your community from predators.
Well,
Not
that
every man is a predator. Not every woman is a predator.
I do understand, and that has been a part of my healing journey is reading different books. I ordered Father Daughter Incest by Judith Lewis Herman, I believe is her name. How to Keep Kids Safe. I forget the author, but I'm trying to figure out how I can use my platform to help women never have to go through something like this. And I recommend that honestly, women need to have surveillance in general on their children. And I like I said, I don't know if that's just my PTSD speaking, but we just have to be very watchful because there are predators and they always look like the good guy most of the time.
Well, and when we talk about predators, what I want people to understand is that predators are not just men. Unfortunately, women can commit these kinds of acts as well.
I'm sorry, I
When we
don't mean
talk
to
about,
exclude that.
no. So right now, what I want to do is just kind of educate the audience. You are going through some excellent therapy, so you are finding the healing that you need. And what is important is that we learn as a community how to become stewards and protectors of our children. The reality is that 1 in 4 girls and an estimated 1 in 7 boys will deal with sexual molestation before the age of 18. So the numbers are staggering. The number of people who are in this chat tonight who have experienced some form of sexual abuse before they were.
Yes. Women need to watch, protect, and take care of their children. Thank you. Thank you. And that's a big thing that Priscilla talks about. Shout out to the Queen Maker. And she talks a lot about how women want to sit back and be these quote unquote, as you heard Isis say, I wanted to be a princess. That's why I got with older men. They want to sit around and be a pillow princess. They want to be kept. They want to be these trophy wives. They don't want any responsibility. 90% of the responsibility lies on the woman. And when you have women that want to sit back and put all the power in man's hands, put all the responsibility in on the man's back and in the man's hands, this is what happens when women want to sit back, be lazy, be quote unquote kept, be quote unquote a trophy wife. Then you get in these situations where you handing all your power over to a man. You're putting everything in a man's hands. When you open up the door and you set it up where this man is feeding you, that same man can also starve you. So I can understand and I see in full in just full circle, I see everything Priscilla has been talking about when she say the danger of women being delusional. Delusion is such oh my god, it is so dangerous amongst everyone around the women, most definitely dangerous to her children and dangerous to herself. But you want to be kept so bad. You want to be that quote unquote trophy wife. You want to deal with this hypergamy stuff. Well, honey, like I was saying in my other video, and I don't take it back, when I titled that video, The Downfall of Hypergamy, the downside of hypergamy. Because anybody can sit online all day and talk about how good something is. And I'm gonna just use this for example. Let's say on my little journey. I've been working out and this and that. Let's say if I decided to go and take Ozempic, right? And I'm all online, like, yeah, guys, I've took the Ozempic. It's been 6 weeks. I'm 30 pounds down, and I'm showing you all my pictures and my before and after, and I've lost weight and I'm looking good. And then all the side effects come. Oh, there's been punctures inside of your stomach. Oh, you're going back and forth to the bathroom. Your stomach messed up. You're having headaches. You blacking out. All these side effects that come along with Ozempic. But I'm not on the camera talking about the Ozempic. At the end of the day, it's it's the good side, it's the upside of everything, and then you have the downside of everything. So it's good that she's on here talking about, like I said, the downside of hypergamy. A lot of people don't want to look at it like that because you're like, oh, it's just a slap in the face. Oh, she's going through things and we shouldn't say that. No, there is accountability to be had. Just like how I could go out here and take Ozempic and drop that 25, 30 pounds in 4 or 5 weeks. I can sit up here and get on a diet like the diet I'm on now, and I even feel better. The past 4 days, I've been on that the no carb, high protein thing. I've been doing it where I just eat vegetables and meat, and I feel so good. Like I've been in the gym working out and stuff like that. I feel so good. So you could go the long way of doing stuff. Like with ISIS, she could have stayed on her grind, continued to invest in her businesses and in all the other endurance that she said she had, and she could have tried to grind it out as a single mother. But instead, she was feeling tired and she feel like she needs someone to lead her through. This seems like a woman who is scared to be alone, and that is a dangerous woman or a dangerous man. A person who cannot be alone is dangerous. A person who cannot be alone is something missing. I'm talking about even before all this situation happened with her kids. It's something missing with ISIS. ISIS needs to figure out herself. Of course, she has to heal. Her children have to heal, but it's something missing in her life where she feels like she has to have a man. She feel like I think this woman feel like she can't make it without a man, and that's sad. It's really sad. But the most definitely the last thing on her mind should be getting another man. That's the last thing that should be on her mind. Is getting a man should be the last thing on Isis' mind.
18 years old is staggering. And that means so many people have not been treated for the post-traumatic stress disorder, for the depression, for the anxiety, and all of the other issues that come as a result of child sexual abuse.
Yes.
And when we talk about this, we also have to recognize, as you are hearing this story tonight, that it's not about Chester, the child molester. It's not about the strange van or the stranger in the neighborhood. 90% of victims know their abusers, and they are family members, they are friends, they are individuals who are stewards of children. And until we become very educated about what it means for predators to seek out and get access to their prey and what makes people have the potential to be victims, we will not know how to adequately protect our children nor ourselves. And that is the takeaway that I really want everybody to understand tonight.
Thank you.
There you have it. Dr. Spirit, I appreciate you for coming up here in such absolute short notice.
Yes.
And just talking to our
No, this is so true. What somebody just said in the comment section. Hold on. I done scrolled all the way up. Let me get this down. But I seen somebody in the comment section said we need to teach our children about their private parts. That is so true. Teach these kids about their private parts. This is your JJ. This is your ping. Nobody is supposed to touch this. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad somebody in the comment section said that. And something that somebody else said in the comment section. Many predators are children, are other children. Many predators are children are other children. That is so true. That's why you have to watch kids. And that's a big reason why I don't know. People could call me a helicopter mom. I don't care. But I never played none of this sleeping over stuff. I never played that sleepover stuff unless it was like, my little nieces, nephews, or something like that. And even when my nieces and nephews come over, I watch kids. I watch kids. Periodically, I will creep. I'm talking about not walk up and be loud. I will creep. I will spy. I watch kids. I'm sorry. And you have to. And I don't care what ages. You have to watch kids. Whether they're 5 or whether they're 15. You gotta watch kids.
My sister here because I mean this is a touchy situation. I wanted, obviously, we asking questions and we're getting her story, her testimony, but I wanted somebody to be able to give us some insight. Especially, I mean, it's babies involved, in the situation, families involved. In fact, the world is involved, at this
Well,
point.
and I want to know if you all have questions. One of the populations that I have worked with over the years have been
Now this
convicted
is
sex
good.
offenders. And so I have had an inside understanding in the mind.
That is a good point that somebody in the comment section made. Let me see if I can scroll back. See, it's going up. But what somebody ended up saying is that she prioritized her relationships over her kids. Yep, I believe so too. What they saying in the comment section, I believe that to be true. She prioritized I need a man over I need to figure out how to be the best mom I can be. Yeah, I'm out here. I'm a single mom with 2 kids. Cause all she had was 2 before she met um the husband. I need to figure out how to be a better mom and how to be a good sufficient mom to my kids. And as you guys heard her earlier in the video, she said it was one Christmas when it was her and her 2 sons, and she was just sitting up there with her kids, like, I gotta get y'all a dad. We need to have a family. Instead of sitting there feeling whole with you and your 2 children, you feel like I just gotta get a man. I gotta get a man. So having that mindset, the patriarchal system set into women that we gotta have a man. We're not whole unless we have a man. That can lead you here as well. And Lionel said people judging her for prioritizing the man, yet you listen to these spaces. That's what these men are telling women to do. Thank you. Growing up, that's all I heard too. That's all I heard too. Listen to your man. Girl, what did your man say? You need to put your man first. And that's exactly what she did. She prioritized and surrounded her whole man. She centered that man was the center of her whole life. And look where it gets you. I swear I was just talking to one of my clients a week or so ago, and we were just talking about how it's women who get the short end of the stick in these relationships. A lot of women leave with they leave the relationship with men and just all broken up. The kids broken up and scarred for life. And what the man say? Oh, the woman gonna take my money. Well, sir, you can make money back. What happened to this young lady? 2 daughters. They can't run and get that back. What those 2 little girls went through changed their life forever. And of course, they're young. Maybe the 2-year-old won't remember, but I know I can remember all the way back when I was 3. So the 4-year-old probably will remember. What happened to them is going to stick with them. And then you have these guys out here that sitting around like, why all these women always saying they healing? Why you always healing? We tired of hearing women talking about y'all healing. Well, damn it. Why is it always a situation where they're with a man and they getting hurt? In order for someone to be in a process of healing, they had to went through some hurt first.
Kinds of individuals who have behaved in such ways. And I'm curious whether it is this young lady that you guys are speaking with tonight, or if it's members in your chat who may have had questions about how do they protect themselves, how do they protect their communities, what is it that people need to know in order for us to not only heal each other, but in order to make sure that there are no more victims among those that we love.
Yes. Please share with us any knowledge that you have is helpful, not only to myself, but to everyone.
And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop the link in the chat so we can come up, so the audience can come up and join Dr. Spirit up here.
Absolutely, y'all. So go ahead. It's about that time. Dr. Spirit, we got your time tonight. I know it's nice and late. You gonna rock with us here tonight?
I'm gonna rock with you for a few minutes. I'll give you a good 20, 30 minutes. Come on.
There you go. We got about a good 20, 30. So y'all get some free therapy. I think Dr. Spirit is like 3 years back rolled right now. If you're trying to get some real therapy from Dr. Spirit.
We'll take it. Thank
so
you,
we're gonna
ma'am.
go ahead and we'll get a light 30 minutes in. So Ryan is dropping the link in the chat. And what we're gonna do is you guys can head backstage when you want to join, and we'll bring you guys right on up. All right.
And I think it's quite a bit we can speak about. And I know, you even, getting into the relationship with your husband, it was fairly quickly, and it was something that she was really, really looking forward to.
Yeah.
And, it was so many messages that I passed from our family, some good, some not so good. And then the messages that I passed through media. I think a lot of us can go out and look for love, and we don't always find, the fairy tale, picture and kind of how things are set up. So I think it's just so much to learn from your story. So guys, please call in. I'm dropping the link in the chat now. We got the awesome, the honorable, the most lit Dr. Spirit joining us, and she's ready to drop a ton of.
I noticed there's a lot of people in the chat that feel like she's lying. I don't know. Do she seem like she lying to y'all? I don't know, but it's a lot of people in this chat room that say they feel like she lying. Don't allow these fools to call. They have no sympathy. Okay, so let's see what the people that's calling in. Let's see what they gotta say.
Game on y'all, so please call in and we're gonna bring you up one by one.
Absolutely, Lano. So do we got some people backstage that we could go ahead and start rolling up? And please, by the way, if you're backstage, put your cameras on, guys.
Yes.
We will not let you up if your cameras are not on. So put your cameras on and we'll have you come up. We just ask that you guys be respectful in this time so we can conduct a productive conversation. But we're gonna let the people come up now. Who we got backstage, Lano?
Frustrated with GA4? You're not alone. Google didn't do it for you. They did it for the money. We get it.
Darwin backstage. Okay, go ahead and bring my brother up. Darwin, what's up with you, brother? Brother, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
What's up with you, brother? If you can't, I got your name. Can you give me your age and your location?
Age is 38, Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. What's
ATL.
up with ATL here? So what's your question?
Oh yeah. I feel like she's not telling the whole story. She definitely isn't. Um, she's holding. Yep, she's not holding herself accountable. You right about that, Lionel. And I think you're right about her not telling the whole story. And as you guys know, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are old enough to know whenever there's half truths being told, everything sounds like a lie. Whenever you're telling half truths, it sounds like a lie. Even though we were not there and we don't know exactly what happened or whatever, I know it's something in here that she's not telling everything. So I understand where you coming from, Lionel, for sure. So let's see what this person from the chat room has to say.
Question for us tonight, Darwin.
My question is, I noticed the woman said she saw the signs. So if you see the signs before your kids come into a picture, how much is this self-inflicted? Because me looking from that.
I said I
looking
didn't
on the-
see the signs until after we were married already, so we were already invested as a family at that point.
What I'm hearing is that your kids, you had kids after you got married, right?
Yes.
So you said in the beginning of the marriage, I think in another video or maybe even a day, you said in the beginning of your marriage, he was pretty much sexually violating. So what I'm seeing is that you knew that this man was offensive or abusive, but then you went on ahead and had kids with him. So that means that for me, you put your kids in danger.
I think that that's the narrative that you want to put on the situation, but that's not the reality of what it was. And like I said,
Just from the outside looking in, Isis, that's what it's looking like. I feel what you're saying too, Lionel. But I wasn't there, so I'm not gonna call her a liar. I wasn't there. I see exactly what this gentleman is saying though, because he's feeling like this man essayed you at the beginning of the marriage, and you went on to have two children by him that just so happen to be little girls. So, in a sense, whether you want to look at it like that or not, you did put those kids in danger because you knew the type of man he was looking at what he did to you. You know he had that monster spirit in him. And you went on to give birth to three of his kids, because she just had a, another boy here recently, a few months back.
I was very heavily manipulated by scripture. He, would use it. He would gaslight me, and after I hadn't even I don't even know if I was pregnant yet after the last time it happened. So, in every other way, he was a good man. I didn't think that it was worth throwing my family away or the family that we were trying to create because he had done those things. And unfortunately, I didn't realize that that would mean that he would go on to abuse his own children. I don't know how someone would correlate the two. But that's just my opinion.
But now, Darwin, I want you.
I just feel like you got to look at the pattern of people. Patterns never lie. A person can sit up and say anything. They can say anything, but look at their actions. A person actions show you everything you need to know about a person. A person actions show you everything. What's up, Natasha? Yeah, I see you a little late, but I'm most definitely coming back in the morning because I'm gonna do like a real quick snippet of a part two. Um, I think it's about. Let me see how much longer left because I know I'm knocking on 2 hours, and you guys know I don't. I really don't be going past the hour, but it's about 45 more minutes left in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and continue everything tomorrow. But if you guys come back, make sure you stroll to the front. But thank you for dropping in, Tasha. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you go and check out the replay. But you guys, I will most definitely be back in the morning. So you guys make sure you hit that notification bell. Not to mention, she is profiting from her baby's pain. Thank you. That's the same thing I said, Tasha. She over here profiting off their pain. And you have to think about the future because in no time, these children will be going into their preteen years. They'll be teenagers. What's on the internet is on the internet. People will be able to look back on this. So my prayers go out to her kids. But thank you all for being here with me. And most definitely, I'll be back in the morning for part two of this recap. And you guys don't want to miss it. Go ahead, hit that like button. And if you're coming in late, check out that replay. Shout out to Natasha. Shout out to Lionel. And most definitely, shout out to AB. And I'll be back tomorrow with another one. And I'm signing out. Katie Talk 101. Peace.